Good evening, wool gatherers, and welcome to episode 127 of Wanderings and Wool Gathering. This is a super special episode for me because we are covering the new Slipknot record, The End So Far. Super excited to talk about that and continue listening to it. We're also going to talk about some songs that we remember from our childhood. I believe it was First Songs that was issued by Mr. Mundy. He can clarify that when he comes on. And we got a little Lester Bangs challenge for Mr. Mundy because we can't seem to stump that guy, but I might have him today. I'm counting on it. And then finally, we're hoping to get to Sandman, issue number 19. We're really cruising through the whole series. Excited about that. So, without further ado, none other than himself. It's Metalhead Mundy.
Step inside into his mind. It's boy band time. It's
Metalhead Mundy.
Tonight it might be Technical Head Mundy.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating start, but try to power through here.
Yeah, we getting started just a little bit late. We had some technical difficulties, but we wanted to make it right before we got started so we wouldn't have any issues. And I think we're off and running now.
So far.
No, we're running. We're rolling now. So in the case that we may not have a full show because Mr. Mundy gets kicked off again, we are getting started right now. Are you ready to be stumped?
Yeah, sure. Hopefully I'll not be, and maybe that'll improve my mood a little bit.
Yeah. Now, you might get this. I don't know. We're going to find out. So for those of you who don't know, our Lester Bangs challenge is basically we read a review from the past. We leave out all the pertinent information, and whoever is on the show with us has to decide which album or musical group the review is about. So Mr. Mundy's track record on here has been amazing. He never misses. So let's see if he can stand up to his usual greatness. Are you ready, sir?
I am. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. The sprawling double album is dangerous undertaking in rock because the possibility for overload is too great. Even the biggest fans of, say, the Beatles or Bruce Springsteen will admit that the White Album and The River could have been better as a single album with the fat trimmed. But this group's album not only doesn't suffer from a lack of filler, but its length is actually one of its selling points. So that's the first part.
Okay.
Thought I had that off. So that's the first. Do you have an idea yet? Because I've got more.
I mean, no, we're talking about a double album. That could be anything. That's about all I got so far.
All right, here we go. Always influenced by American music, this record found this group going deeper into country, folk, and even gospel. They didn't abandon the blues. They did cover a couple of tracks by famous bluesmen. So expanding this album allowed them to explore some of the more musical ideas in greater depth than they had previously done. So now you've got a little bit more. It's a double album. It's got folk. It's got gospel. It's got country.
Huh. But it said it's exploring those,
Mm-hmm.
which suggests that's not their standard fare.
This record head says Black Sabbath.
He
That
did
is-
say that before you said the country.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Good point. Good point. Record head, we will not hold that against you. That is incorrect, but I love the participation. And then another line from this is, but the most incredible thing about this record is that it even got made.
Huh.
You want a year?
Double album. Hold on. Give me, let's see. So, double album, exploring all of that stuff. And it's crazy that it even got made. Huh.
The band had to leave their home country because of tax issues.
Okay. All right. So, I'm trying to come up with the name of the album. I think it's the Rolling Stones.
Yay!
Man, I want to say Exile and No, that would be Liz Fair, Exile in Guyville. Um,
You are close.
yeah, it's what's it called? Exile on Main Street.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Fantastic. Mundy comes through again.
Okay. So that was, I mean, all of that makes perfect sense, but the tax thing definitely gave it away because that's a very famous story. Right. So, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh, really? Woo, man. Sometimes I gotta question her taste.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because they ended up in Paris and in northern France, and they were staying at a former Nazi apartment or something in Keith Richards' place, and it became a lot of debauchery. And basically said they would just record when they were actually sober or with it enough to play instruments, and then it became one of their most famous records.
Yes, it is definitely one. That one is often cited by a lot of artists as like their favorite Stones record.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the track list; like there aren't really that many hits on it, but it's
which makes it even cooler.
Yeah, for whatever reason, like that is like most musicians. That's like their favorite Stones record. So
yeah. Well, dang it, Mundy, you did it again. Oh, drat.
Honestly, I thought maybe the year probably wouldn't have helped me, but the tax thing.
I thought maybe you would just instantly go with double record, knowing me would be like, oh, well, it's got to be Smashing Pumpkins.
No, well, I mean, as soon as you said double record, my immediate thought was Melancholy, but I mean, the other stuff didn't have me thinking that.
No,
so.
Not really.
And what you said about it being a miracle it got made, I've never heard anything about Melancholy being that crazy.
Yeah.
The process.
The process is Billy, I think. So,
yeah.
Pretty much. All right. Very well done. Okay, well, let's go ahead and hit the challenge then before we get to the record review. Go ahead and hit us to that because this was yours.
Yeah, so basically... pretty simple idea. All I really wanted was like your first memory that you can go back to, that you remember really loving a particular song. Mm-hmm. And I almost put in the parameters of like a kind of like an actual, I don't know, like mainstream song or rock song, not like a kiddie song, because a lot of time when you're kids, you listen, like, I had Sesame Street stuff and, things like that, but like you're an actual song on the radio that you remember loving, the very first one that you can recall.
Yeah. Well, actually I came up with 3
because
they were all around they're very vivid to me. And so did you do one or did you do more than one?
I just did one. I have a story about one.
Okay. I'll just hit the other 2 and then we'll do the one. So I know I've said in the past, I was really a product of listening to what my brothers listened to because they had the great stereo. They each had their own stereo system that they bought with jobs that they had. So they had these sweet receivers, amazing speakers, all that kind of stuff. And so I listened to their stuff. So I can clearly remember in the late 70s listening to Cheap Trick, Surrender, and The Car is My Best Friend's Girl.
Awesome. Both fantastic songs.
They are. And records in general, those were fantastic. So I remember hanging out in the basement with my brother Brian and listening to those things. So I don't know which one came first. I just clearly remembered those. Hey, we do have...
I was going to say we can throw that up there and talk about that before we get into ours.
My guess is that this is our little metalhead in the making, Jackson, who I'm pretty sure he'll clarify it for me on here because I can just see Record Head on there. But if it is, I've been to a concert with him, and he is a pure metalhead, gets in the pit, does that whole thing.
Awesome.
And so his first one he can remember is Paper Cut by Linkin Park.
I was going to say, if it's Paper Cut, then that's he's a baby.
He's 17.
Yeah,
I believe he's 17.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just went to the Rob Zombie and Mudvayne show
Oh, cool.
together.
Nice.
So yeah, that was a great time. So yeah, he should be after your heart, Mundy.
Awesome.
All right, so my number one then that I came up with was Rush Entre Nous off of Permanent Waves, and I remember that because I remember specifically loving that. My brother Joe had gotten that record. Oh, he said I'm not that young. He must be 18. And I remember making a tape because that's what we did back in the day, and listening to it over and over on vacation.
Yep.
We were houseboating on Dale Hollow.
So how old were you then when you discovering this song?
I would have been 8 or 9.
Okay. I'm a little younger than that.
Oh, you did. Yeah, I just couldn't remember any. I like probably my parents listening to ABBA, on the big, huge system in the front room. But I can't. Yeah, I don't have anything before that.
So my very first one that I remember just absolutely loving a song is It's Still Rock and Roll to Me, Billy Idol. Or Billy Idol.
Billy Idol?
Joel.
What? Never heard that version.
Joel. Which I just saw a magazine in the checkout aisle, something about 50 years of the Piano Man. I'm like, damn, we're getting old.
Now, we had that record at home, and I remember listening to that as well.
So I remember my dad's family, a lot of them are from Salem, Illinois. So my parents were still together, which means I couldn't have been more than three. So, and we were there, and I remember my dad's cousins were young girls. They were older than me, but they were probably not, 10, 12 maybe. And they kept putting that 45 on. I think they had the 45. They would put it on, and I'm 3 years old, and every time they put it on, I just instantly would start dancing and stuff. And I remember it. So that is, and I've always loved that song. That is the earliest memory that I have of just absolutely loving a song.
Cool. Yeah, if I'd go much younger, I'd have to go with Star Wars. At 6. So there you have it. Geddy Lee is also a QT. She's a sap. All right. There is no challenge for next week yet. We'll see if T-Bags joins us next week so we can come up with something great. So stay tuned for the next challenge because we now have work to do because Slipknot just came out. And I have this. This was fun when it came because I didn't pay attention. So here's the vinyl. I don't know if you can. I gotta try to get it in front of there. Can you read that?
The End for Now.
Mm-hmm. So what's the record called?
The End So Far.
Yeah. So at the last minute, they changed the name, but the first pressings of the vinyl had been pressed already, and the material had already been made, the inside jacket and all that kind of stuff. So they left it and sent these out. All the CDs were changed and all of that. Cool. So you're getting The End So Far, but everybody who got a first pressing got The End for Now. Means absolutely nothing, but it makes me excited. Yeah, it's Record Head saying a misprint, and it's not really. It's kind of, I guess maybe they could consider it that. Is that pink? It is pink, and you can see through it, kind of. Yeah, it is really
cool. That's kind of a cool collector's item thing.
I hope it is, but they did on some put a sticker over it that said "So Far."
No,
I'm glad that I did not get the sticker over it.
Yeah,
and it opens up. It's a double, so
yeah.
Very excited for that.
Did you see? I'm sure you did, but did you see the CD release where they did one for a cover for each individual member?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Uh-oh. I'm gonna have to kick him out of the stream. He probably thought it wasn't hard enough. That'd be my guess. And I've been on a lot of sites, just trying to gauge what people felt about the record, and Reddit was a little harsher than some. It just depends on where you go, and I've seen some where it's just glowing at one after the other, and then others where it's very critical. I think one of the problems that maggots have is that it's universally known that most people's favorite record is Iowa or self-titled, and Iowa is brutal. I mean, it is. I mean, we reviewed on the show. It is as hard as it gets from beginning to end, and that's what people seem to keep wanting. But I feel like I've kind of grown up with the band age-wise, and I get it where you can't do Iowa over and over, and I'm kind of glad that they don't. I think Record Head probably prefer Iowa.
Slipknot has been around long enough now that they're falling into basically the Metallica trap, which is everybody wants Master of Puppets, and you're never going to get Master of Puppets ever again. And same with Slipknot. It's like these guys are not 20 years old anymore. So they're not writing songs as 20-year-olds. You know, bands grow, bands change, people change. They write different things. They grow as songwriters. They improve as musicians. They get tired of doing the same thing. They want to experiment. It's you either got to go along for the ride or let it go.
Yeah, and it'd be phony to try to make Iowa again, because when you're rich and famous and you don't have the problems, you're not a drug addict anymore, and you're not on the streets, and you can't pull from that anymore. So Record Head, I don't know, I'm gonna really have to kick him off of here. So he says that he felt that it was criminally underproduced. I know the band felt that it was slightly rushed because they had to put this together during COVID, and they were piecing a lot of things together. But I will say, when I listened with noise-canceling headphones on, there was a lot of texture and a lot of sounds going on that I really liked, and I thought the production on those were really good. And I'm surprised people are likening this or saying it's not as good as We Are Not Your Kind, because people hated We Are Not Your Kind. Those are brutal reviews of that one, because as I've seen on a lot of people, they don't want clean lyrics. They want screaming all the time, which is underusing Corey Taylor, if you ask me as well. But
I would agree with that 100%. Corey is an amazing singer. And he can do it all. So why would you not do that? Like when he sings clean with Slipknot, it doesn't sound like, it doesn't sound like Stone Sour. Like, it still sounds like Slipknot. I don't get that. We're going to get into a lot of stuff here where people, like, I feel like people hate just to hate. Like, it's not what they want, so it's terrible. And they're not making records for just you. They're making music that is in their head and is coming out of them. And it's not like, I don't know, like it or don't, that's fine. Music is 100% subjective, but sometimes I feel like people get a little nitpicky with stuff.
Well, let's jump in, because we're going to end up, if we keep going this route, we're going to end up talking about the songs anyway. So first thing we always do is we got to talk about the album opener. And this one, I sent, I think in a text right after her, it was jarring, and it's in a backwards way, because it was melodic and it was all clean singing. Adderall is the title. And it's written almost like a poem, because the verses are actually 4 sets of couplets in each one, rhyming couplets. Had a cool vibe, beautiful vocals. I thought the synth stuff was really on point. When Jay's drums kick in, they're kind of stripped down and very basic, which I thought was cool, because we're used to all the blasts and double bass and all that. So I thought it was an interesting opener and kind of gutsy, especially after a lot of the intros in the past. Well, some didn't have lyrics, but were screaming or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I really like the synth intro. I mean, it went long enough that I wasn't sure where we were going, but then it, kicks into an actual song. So I'm like, okay, cool. And yeah, I mean, beautiful vocal melodies, catchy chorus. This is, I mean, just in the lead off track, and Corey's amazing. I personally think he's always an amazing singer. So we get to see a little bit of the melodic side, and I think it's a good intro to the album as well because it doesn't really like set the tone so much, but it's kind of like eases you in, and then the dying song comes in. I mean, kind of kicks your ass a little bit. So
Yeah. So Dying Song is song number 2. And although it does have its heavy moments, it's a bit of a rager. It does, again, have a nice catchy chorus. That seems to be kind of their hook now, is coming in with the catchy chorus, which, again, I've got Corey Taylor singing. That's what I'm going to do. Had some nice stripped down drums in the beginning. Oh, that was the last one. Sorry, I'm reading my notes over here. This one I thought was more radio friendly.
Sure.
You could see this one, even with the yelling, could definitely be on the radio, and kind of talks about two sides of our country going at it with each other, two opposing views, not being able to get along. Everybody's offended by everything, but nothing ever changes. And so I thought that was, and it was released quite a while ago, so we've kind of been able to sit with it for a bit, but I like it a lot.
Yeah, same. It's got some pretty fat grooves, and like I could say it for pretty much every song. I love Corey's voice, so that goes for every song. I'll try not to say it 20 times, but yeah, I mean, this song I think is after Adderall. Then, like, my first feeling when this kicks in is like, okay, this is why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like this one. Was not not really one of my favorites on the album, but I enjoy it a lot. And yes, I agree with you 100% that it is radio friendly, and which is probably one of the reasons they released it.
Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense. And I like it a lot, but I'm with you. Like, the album just totally takes off in a few songs for me. Mm-hmm. There's a section in the middle I think is absolutely killer. But the next one is Chapeltown Rag. This one was the first one that was released, and it was released quite a while ago. And it's about the British serial killer Peter Sutcliffe, known as the Yorkshire Ripper. And Corey talks about this one as what happens when social media meets actual media, and it's about how the media manipulates us. When that song the line makes sense. When everything is God online, nothing is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would disagree with that, but like I said, music is subjective. I really like. Say what?
2 against 1. Wrong.
Really, really like this song. I think the subject matter makes it even more interesting. I will say, in this song, I would love it even more if they would remove the DJ scratches. I think they sound ridiculous and out of place. And honestly, like, I could lose that altogether on this album. Anywhere they pop up, it distracted me, took me out of what I was listening to. I do not need that in these songs whatsoever.
I enjoyed the scratching in a lot of them. Didn't really make much of a difference to me, but I enjoyed the scratching in the breakdown on the Dying Song. That was one spot.
Yeah. So. But that's my thing. They don't make a difference at all.
Right.
You could totally take them out, and the songs I think would be more powerful.
Fair enough. And Chapeltown Rag is good, but I just never latched onto it. I always liked it, but I didn't love it. So, and then the next one, Yin, I mean, that's another one that is sort of radio friendly as well. It starts off again with some nice, cool sound, especially in your headphones. Really cool sound. Almost sounds like some kind of weird walking sounds. I'm not sure exactly what that was, but it kind of brings you into it. And then it's got mellow verses, and then the chorus kicks in. And I really liked later, there's a great drum breakdown near the bridge late in the song that I really liked. And the singing on this one is excellent as usual. Not my favorite, but a very listenable, enjoyable song.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, to say a Slipknot song is dark and moody might be, I don't know, understating it, but this is dark and moody without like distorted guitars. Like it sets a mood without being like brutally heavy. So I thought that was kind of cool, and definitely dig the chorus. Again, lose the scratches, don't need them.
Yeah, I did enjoy the sounds, but yeah, scratching, it was okay because it was part of a breakdown, so it didn't really take away. But
I got it.
Good song.
I'm gonna say
Not
I
great.
want before we move on, I want to address Recordhead is talking about the DJ scratches in the comments, and I just say I am not opposed. Like I am a huge Linkin Park fan. He mentioned Linkin Park earlier. I love Linkin Park. I love Mr. Hahn. I think he brings a lot to the table with Linkin Park, and he's a wonderful addition to their sound. When we go like super, super heavy like this, I think it just distracts from the overall tone and like I mean, if you just have like a brutal riff and drums but especially if you got like break beats going on and all that, like the DJ scratches just completely pull me out of it. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with it.
Makes sense. So for me, I loved Adderall. I liked the other three, but here is where it kicks in for me. There's a group of songs here in the middle that I think just totally slay. And Hive Mind, it's one of my faves on the record. It's got that crazy cool beginning. Sounds like almost like a 70s sci-fi movie. Kind of sounds going on like old technology or something, which is kind of cool. And then those heavy guitars just come slamming through the door. And it's pretty cool. And I like the whole thing is about, sort of that connection that we have at concerts. That brings that mentality together, that hive mind, so to speak. And again, this one has one of those old school kegs in the background,
Yep.
That keep it beat, which was really nice too. So I love hive mind.
Kind of a long intro, which I didn't hate. Very cool drums. I think Jay is amazing top to bottom on this record. He's so good. And I think he does a really, really great job on this entire record. Jay Weinberg is, man, there's a reason he got Metal Drummer of the Year. So that's pretty cool. Great grooves in this one. And I wrote the same thing. I was like, Return to the Keg. Oh, yeah.
So my note at the top, which I was going to mention later, is that I said Jay really shines on this one. It feels like after a couple of records where he was good, I mean, he was fantastic, but it feels like on this one, it's his own. Like we've moved on now. Joey was so aggressive and was just pounding him out.
Yeah.
Jay's got that, but he's got some nuance and he's got some little jazz bits he throws in that I think are pretty cool. But I feel like on this one, he owned it. That and the bass sort of took over on this one for me, which were really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Next song is Warranty, and another great one. Cool guitar intro. When you got the drum blast that just keep in there. It's super aggressive. And the Warranty has not run out. It's just been replaced with a new one. We got the new Slipknot. I think that was really cool. So I like it a lot. The sweet breakdown, and Jay just kills the drums later in this one. And there's some cool vocal melody at the bridge that I love. Yeah,
I didn't have a lot on this one. I was like, I'm not really sure what it's about, but it's a good song. I dig it. Like the music a lot.
Okay, next one is Medicine for the Dead. Now, I don't know I don't know what your notes were on this. This one had a bit of a Tool feel in the beginning, especially the guitar tones. And I don't know what it is exactly, but I don't know, but it just had that feel for me. And this one was written for people that are in the midst of depression. And it's kind of got that soft intro, deep bass groove, almost like a rumbling underground. And Jay was killer on this one too.
Yeah, I really, really like the structure of this song. I like how they put it together, how they strung the different parts together. This was one of the highlights for me, I think.
All right. Next up is Medicine for the Dead. Oh, no, I just said that
No.
one. Acidic.
Yes.
Acidic is next. And this one is very different. Of all of even the soft one at the beginning, we've had some soft songs before, so that's not that much different. I felt like this one was very different because it had such a bluesy feel to it, and gosh, I don't know. And it wasn't. And some people were like, "Oh, it's got a stone sour edge to it." When I didn't really feel the stone sour bit, I just felt like there was something bluesy going on. And Jay again is just. There's a really cool guitar solo, which is very un-Slipknotty to have a single guitar solo like that, and then Jay just kills it again.
Yeah, I didn't have a ton on this one. This it kind of, for me, was just kind of like I don't know, kind of like the end of the middle kind of lagged for me a little bit. Didn't love it, didn't hate it.
Okay, good enough. Heirloom, I imagine you didn't like the beginning, but my notes were that it began with some pretty dope scratching. So here, I liked it a lot. It's about survivors of domestic abuse, so it's pretty cool. And this one, there were bits that reminded me a little bit of Stone Sour, but that's mostly just his voice and the way he sings in choruses. I like the line, "No matter how the past has gone, you'll always have the past along." You know, you've dealt with all this stuff and it's always going to be with you. It's going to, kind of dictate your life to an extent. So cool message in this one.
Yeah. So on Heirloom, like I really enjoyed the verse riff. I really dug that groove, the pocket they hit in the verses. The chorus lost me a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Something about that sound. Like I feel like this one almost went not bluesy. Bluesy is the wrong word. It almost, the chorus felt like it had like just a little twinge of Southern rock.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
and that might be where I came up with a bit of the Stone Sour edge to it.
Yeah, man. I'm like, I don't know if I really need that in a Slipknot song, but yeah. And this was another one where I thought Jay really shined on here.
Yep. And then the next one. This might be my favorite song on the record. I'm not sure yet, but it's H377. I imagine there's some version where you flip the letters and it becomes hell. But it's embracing the fact that everybody hates you. I kind of dig that. But what I loved about this one, obviously it was heavy. We got the machine gun blast. I mean, it's coming at you. But his vocals were so insane on this. And the way that he structured those and he's landing on those beats, there's a real cool cadence to it. And it wasn't rap by any means, but it had sort of that feel and that the way he structured it metrically, I guess, to fit in the lines. I thought it was just really smooth and good. And it had another cool guitar solo. Excellent, excellent song. I love this one.
I'm right with you on the cadence. Like it wasn't, I think it kind of brushed right up against a little bit of a hip hop cadence, but not quite. And it's absolutely brutal, total banger. I like this one. This is definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's Recordhead said, "I want to love this album, but I can't remember the beats of any of these songs." Listen a couple more times, put your headphones on, noise cancel them out, and get in there and dig in, and you'll find something. And people who say it's not hard enough, I mean, I don't know the Dying Song is fairly hard, but Hive Mind and Warranty and Arrow, and H377, those are hard songs. I don't know what else you want.
People want something they're not going to get, and it's like I said, if people want one specific thing, and it's like Slipknot's kind of moved past that. Like they're doing what they want to do, and whatever. People are either going to love it or not. So what are you going to do?
True. That brings us to he loves Radiohead. Get out. Only if it's old Radiohead. So Desaad is the penultimate song And this one, again, has some cool effects to bring us in, a little slight percussion, and then Jay gives another masterclass. He is so good on this one. And the chorus is catchy. There's some synth bits that kind of bring us around in there that I think are pretty nice on this one. And it's about giving into your dark sensations that we're born with. Really cool song.
This was another favorite for me. I really love the feel of this one, and they used Corey, really, it's all him, but did the call and response, used it very effectively on this one. Very cool. It's real easy for that to slip into cheesy territory, and I mean, this was absolutely killer. I loved it. I was interested to see where we were going when I saw the title, and their reference to Desaad, I think, was also very effective. Like the way they reference him, and I think they used it very well. So without overdoing what could be easily overdone if you're talking about the Marquis de Sade. So.
Yeah. I don't think they're talking about Desaad from Apocalypse.
Yeah.
I wish they were, though. That would be cool.
I knew that. I'm well aware of the Marquis de Sade. That's a conversation for probably not a podcast.
You're correct, sir. All right. So that brings us to the finale, which ironically is called Finale. And I thought this one was cool because I'm sure most people know this is their final record on Roadrunner. So the end so far, meaning the end of the line with Roadrunner, who knows what they'll do next. And so kind of a look back, I got to stay, but I like it here. So I get the impression they will continue on, and I think they're getting along really well. So I see that happening. This one, add layer, like the lyrics were the same throughout. They were very repetitive, but then we got to add a layer of guitars, get a little bit of scratching in there. And then there were some choral sounds. Like we had a choir in the background, which was kind of cool. And I love the line, everybody has a cross to bear, I'll nail you up on mine, which was cool. But anyway, I liked it. I thought it was a wonderful finale to not only the album, but their time with Roadrunner.
Yeah, I really dug the vocals. This is a pretty cool, like moody kind of closer. It's a good way to, close out the album, and kind of, leaves you wondering what's next. So I dug it.
Indeed. I think my guess is it'll be a few years, but I think, and then we're still waiting for, I think it was the All Hope Is Gone era that 3 or 4 of them got together and made some music that was very different from Slipknot, and it's never been heard before. They had a couple years ago, they teased that it was going to be coming out soon, and it has not yet. So it would be nice if that ever sees the light of day in between this and whatever they do next. Yeah. And I imagine we've got more coming. So I hope so, especially if we keep going along this line where we just get new, different things, which is exciting because you don't know what you're going to get when the record comes out. All right. It is that time. What did you score it? And will you listen again?
Just kind of summing up, I think, like we talked about, Jay Weinberg, I think, really came into his own on this one. Again, the DJ scratches, I think Slipknot, they don't need them. But I've always said that Slipknot doesn't really need all the extra percussion either. But I think that is more of a live thing. I think that is much more effective in the live setting because their shows are amazing. But the DJ stuff just doesn't work for me with this. Corey, I think, is amazing as always. Listening through this album, I think Slipknot has become very, very good and very skilled at structuring songs and using a bridge in a song. They do it a lot, but they do it so effectively, like it doesn't really get old. some of their songs are structured similarly, but they're different enough that it doesn't really get old for me when I listen. So, having said all of that, there were definitely highlights on this album. Definitely, really only one song that I didn't care for. I didn't hate it, but I didn't, I could have lived without. But so I will probably do 3.75 out of 5.
All right.
Didn't quite hit a 4 for me, and I mean, yeah, there's definitely probably 3 or 4 of these songs I will definitely put on my favorite jams playlist. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, this was written for me, so kind of like I'm a sucker. So I'm going to go with a 4.5 out of 5. And I loved it so far, but I haven't been able to sit down and just listen all the way through more than once. And I want to do that again because it's just such a great experience when you can hear the songs one after the other. When the first 3 came out, I didn't love Chapeltown Rag, but when I heard it in the succession of the Dying Song, Chapeltown Yen, it came up for me a little bit. I felt like it worked really well in that spot. So I want to listen to this all the way through, and I'm going to listen a bunch because that's what I do. But I want to listen to it all the way through with my headphones on, no distractions, and just enjoy it again. So I definitely will be listening again. I like the opening and the closer, and a 4.5.
Cool.
There you have it. All right. Hey, do we have any idea what we're doing next week? What album?
No. I have no idea.
Record Head said he's listened once so far.
Yeah.
I'm telling him you can't judge a record on one listen. Even the record, and I think we can honestly say this, when we go into records that we don't pick because we love the group or whatever, we all give it multiple listens, even if we don't love it, trying to kind of place what we don't love, what isn't working, because we want to give it a fair shake. I don't think you can listen to any record one time and have a true critique of that record.
Yeah, I agree. If I listen to something one time and it immediately I feel like it's garbage, then I probably will not revisit it. But there are things that we have definitely listened to, like going into, I'm like, I don't know about this. And, the more I listen, the more it grows on me, or I might stay in that opinion that I don't love it. But yeah, I think giving it more than one listen is definitely, you kind of have to do that to get a real opinion of it.
Yeah, I think so. Or to figure out exactly why you don't like it. For me, like country music, I struggle so much with country music, but I can't listen to it. I don't like that because country. I don't know why I don't like it. So Jackson, for you, I would say make sure you give a record a couple of listens, and you got to listen to this one more than once. And he tells us you guys should give the album, what is that word? Matriarchy by Tala.
Sure.
Favorite albums right now. Is it a new album? Record Head. Let us know. So, well, that's going to do it. We will definitely have something for next week. We'll try to put that out there this week on our socials. We're going to have to look at the album release dates. Who knows? Oh, it came out in 2020. Doesn't sound like a new record to me, pal. Sorry, getting over a cold. So I will look at that, see what we think. Little Metalhead. Oh, their second album's coming out next month. Maybe we'll put the second one on our radar if our little Metalhead is giving us the okie dokie.
Well, I'll probably check that out just to see, just to see. And then, if I dig that, then I will definitely be a cheerleader for a new one.
All right. That sounds like a plan. All right. Metalhead Mundy. If anyone should want to find you, where would they do that?
Just find me on Instagram at Metalhead Mundy.
What might they find on your Instagram account?
Well, let's see. There's Lots of pictures of me and my wife, some of my kids. There's a pretty gnarly picture of my foot when I banged it up. Got in a fight with a fan and banged my foot up. I think I just put like my dad's senior picture from 1969 up there. So, all kinds of fun stuff.
Excellent. And sometimes we put stuff about comics and music on our social.
Yes, I did that too. I just put, I read the Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead. And I got it was a polybagged cover. Like they didn't want you to see the cover until you bought it because it's called the Duffel Bag Gore variant cover. So I cracked that open and it was pretty gnarly. So that's on Instagram if you want to see that.
Awesome. And hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, we're going to continue on with Sandman. We ran a little long, so we're going to pick that up next week. And we also are going to need to catch back up on She-Hulk and maybe even chat about the new Black Panther trailer. So
yeah, I saw there was one. I haven't watched it yet. And if we get to Andor, I've watched the first episode. I haven't really dove in yet.
So I'm a little concerned about Black Panther. Okay. I'm just worried that they're setting Namor up to die.
I hope not.
I know.
He's a great character. I'm okay with them making him a villain because that's kind of his thing. Is he kind of waffles back and forth. So he's kind of a jerk for a while, and then he's punching Nazis, and then he's a jerk for a while, and then he's kind of wooing Sue Storm, and then, So
yeah, I hope they find a way to bring him back around and redeem him so that he can continue on in the MCU. And that's probably out there. I just was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, in the wrong hands, this could be a disaster. We do not want Namor dead or a true villain off, in the negative zone or something. I don't know.
I saw somebody had a problem with him looking too much in the Atlantis stuff, looking too much like Mayan Incan type stuff, but then at the same time they were like, but Atlantis wasn't real, so I guess it can be anything they want it to be.
That's kind of like the how can Ariel from Little Mermaid be black? Because everybody knows mermaids aren't black. Clearly, we all know a mermaid, right?
Well, I mean, if we want to get technical, Atlanteans are blue in most of the comics. So
why? Now, comics don't matter. Remember that. So, okay. Well, that was exciting. So we got lots of fun stuff coming up. Hopefully we'll have a T-Bag re-emergence in another week and find out what he thought of this record as well. And you can find me at Foggy's Pal on Instagram and Twitter. And you can find Wanderings and Wool Gathering on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, Stitcher, CastBox, and SoundCloud. So we will see you next week for episode. I gotta scroll back up. 128. Cannot wait until. We have one last comment. I don't want to let anybody down. Five Finger Death Punch fans are ones complaining about Ariel. and nobody likes a Five Finger Death Punch fan.
I could not agree with that comment more. I think that's hilarious.
If you said anything dumb tonight, Jackson, you just redeemed yourself. You are instantly our pal again. All right. Until next week, everybody. Bye now.